up, everyone? Name is on the hoodie, and let me welcome you to another video produced by the App Lifestyle, a place where the world is literally in the palm of your hand. And y'all have been begging for this video for quite some time since the changes went into effect. But we're going to be talking about the Ubereats app, or the Uber app specifically. And they recently made some changes that some people favor, some people don't. Now, we're going to cover those changes, and it's only happened in select markets. I'll leave that information in the description below. As well as this new setup, let me know how y'all respond to this, because I've been very busy lately, so this new setup could be what I use going forward for videos. Now, normally I don't read off of any kind of script for my videos, but I've been very busy lately, so I actually will be doing that today. So we're going to discuss these changes. You see me looking down at the paper because I'm looking at notes, because I am kind of in a hurry. Now, for those of y'all that don't know, Ubereats recently made some changes in select markets. The most notable change being they revealed the drop-off location and the restaurant before you take the ping. So you have the information you need to decide if you're gonna take the ping or if you want to decline it. But they made some other changes too. And we're gonna go into the pros and cons of those changes, starting with overall the trips, the quality of delivery. What's different? Let's take a look. So when it comes to the trips, the big pro that they've done, you can now see the restaurant you're going to. If it's a McDonald's, Papa John's, Jack in the Box, that information is up front now before you take the ping. You can see how much you're gonna make. So it's a guaranteed amount, guaranteed $3, $4, $5, $5.60, etc. And they also show the drop-off location, which is long overdue. Truth be told, they should have been showing that all along, but it's finally here. So those are the pros when it comes to this new change. Now, let's get into the cons. Biggest con is based on my overall experience, because I've been doing this for a week with these new changes, and also what some of y'all have reported, the rates have decreased. So the per mile rate, the per minute rate has decreased, and that's never good. Also, a big con, and this is them taking a huge step back, but if you look at the fare details, it says, and you can see on the screen now, that Uber doesn't take a commission, when we know that's crap. They're taking a commission. They're just not revealing to us the percentage amount, and that's the problem, because we need to know what percentage they're taking, so we can line it up with, do we want to do business with them or not? I mean, if they take 60% one time and 30% another time, that's a problem, because we don't know how much they're making off of these restaurants. So are we getting the short end of the stick? That's a big problem and a big con in my book. Also, the showing the map as far as the drop off, this is something, since it's in beta, I'm gonna give them a pass, but if this isn't corrected soon, it's gonna be a big con. But if you receive a back-to-back trip, it is not gonna let you know where the drop off is for your next trip. For those of y'all that don't know, a back-to-back trip is before you complete your current trip, you get your next trip as far as a ping, and you can accept it or decline it. Only the restaurant and the guaranteed amount pops up. The map doesn't pop up showing you where you're going. So in my book, that's still not completely revealing the drop off in all situations. Now, this is in beta, so I'm assuming that this is going to change in the future. But if it doesn't, this is a big con, and it really needs to change. So that covers it for the overall trip quality. We're going to move on to what's changed as far as the pay goes. Now, this is a controversial one, because a lot of people say these changes don't affect anything. Some people say the changes are a little better. Some people say it's just a lot worse. But what I did is I literally pulled up screenshots of my previous recordings from a year ago. Well, not exactly a year, but let's say about 9 months ago, obviously when the old rates were in effect. And I've lined up the boost too, so we're looking at a 1.4 over there versus what it is now. And you can take a look at those now and see what the rates have changed. Have they gone up or down? as you saw, for the most part, they've gone down, right? You also saw that the structure as far as how it's calculated has changed, and we're going to cover that now. So currently, it's going off of a combination of two things, which is base fare and trip supplementation. Now, in my book, this is just disguising the information that they're paying us for, which is the per mile rate, the per minute rate, and also any bonuses. By bonus, we'll get into that in a minute, but some of y'all know that if an order's been floating around for a while, then it gets an extra dollar to attach to it. That's what I mean by bonus. This is a con because, once again, this is covering up information. This is taking a step back. We need to know that information. What's the per mile rate? What's the per minute rate? If it's not a standard and they just have it under base fare, or I'll point here, they have it just under base fare, it's up in the air at their discretion, and that's a problem. As far as the trip supplementation is, my guess is they've taken the time and the distance, and they've come up with a figure for each trip as far as this is the minimum you should make. But the issue with that is there are variables that are just going to vary. As far as mileage, what if you had to take a different route because there's construction or traffic in the standard route, but you're still getting paid for the standard route, but the route you took was 2 miles more? Well, in this model, you're not going to get compensated for that 2 miles, so that's a problem. Same goes for time. As far as just waiting at restaurants, you're not getting paid anymore. In fact, the pro Uber Eats drivers have never really been one to wait at restaurants in the first place, but this just doubles up on that concept. You really want to take note of what restaurants you want to do business with and pick up orders, because if you don't, it could end up costing you money if you're sitting there waiting for, I would say, longer than 5 minutes, but in some cases, maybe not even 5 minutes. So you want to definitely start taking that into consideration. And one thing y'all have all said, and I've noticed this myself, long trips are getting the short end of the stick. So anything over, I'm seeing over 3 miles, they come up with these ridiculous numbers or guarantees. And it could be 9 miles for like $5 or $6. And that comes off as a joke. No, this is before tip, but all the same, it's still like, are you serious? So you're losing the most out on long trips. As far as the short trips, you're not losing as much. That's what I encountered. And the reason they've done this, they're preparing for these long trips since people are most likely not going to take them. That bonus that we talked about before, when an order is floating out there for longer than it's supposed to, they start attaching bonuses to it, like $1, $2, $3. Now, they don't show you, but the way you can tell if something's been floating out there for a while, it has a flat number. It always has a flat number. That's not to say that other times can't have a flat number too, but this is a pretty clear indication. By flat number, I mean it says guaranteed $11 instead of like guaranteed like $8.02. So that's when it's been floating out there for a while, and they're counting on those longer orders probably reaching that status, which is more equivalent to the old rates, but they're hoping that someone, probably someone new who doesn't know any better, goes ahead and takes the longer trip. I would say no one favors that, but on the same time, most people should know not to take a 10-mile delivery and it's only paying like $6, okay? So that's how they're handling that. But what does all this have to do? Where is it all coming to? How did we get to this spot? And I'm glad you asked, because we're about to go into it right now. What is the bottom line? Now, I know a lot of y'all have questions as far as the bottom line, like the Uber Eats course. Is it still valid? Has too much changed? And the answer is no. Not much really has changed in the grand scheme of things in relating to the course, because I designed the course based off the Uber Eats algorithm. They're changing things because they have to be profitable because they're a publicly traded company now, but overall, nothing has changed. And I saw they were going in this direction when they added the tipping platform and they started changing things around tipping. They started actually encouraging customers to tip, which I said they should have been doing in the first place, because they're paying so much money on promotions. If they just encourage customers to tip, drivers can make the same money without them coming so much out of pocket. So what they've effectively done They moved away from this, okay, we're gonna wrap this boost zone around this area so we can guarantee the area is taken care of. And they moved to a model to where the earnings that you make is based on market correction. The market is gonna be self-correcting, which is just golden for them, because there'll be people that take these minor orders, which you and me probably wouldn't take because we know better. But just in case that doesn't happen, they have protocols in place to make sure their ass is covered. So take a look at the earnings that you see right here. You see various ways of you getting paid. So we'll start with the boosts. The boosts overall are the same. The difference is we don't see the per mile rate, so we don't know truly how much the boost quote unquote is. It says the amount, but not knowing the per mile rate, I'm not gonna speculate. Just know that a boost has an increase. It increases the base fare. As far as tips go, certain areas of your market are gonna tip more than others. You got to figure that out yourself. Surge. Now Surge is connected to Ubereats, okay? So if Ubereats is busy, that's when Surge kicks in. Because they know that people will be taking the Ubereats Surge rides and probably ignoring the deliveries. So they introduce Surge to the Ubereats platform just to make sure that demand is still being taken care of for food. And last but not least, the bonuses or guarantees that happen after an order's been floating out there too long. All of these are market corrections with the exception of tips. So what does this mean for you going forward? I would say if you haven't done so already, you want to look at the Ubereats advanced course, because I knew we were going to eventually get to this place. And I constructed that whole course to work around things like this. Since the market is self-correcting, information in that course covers how to deal with this, specifically in the one called Ubereats zones, because there's certain parts of your market where these things that I mentioned are basically in full display. There's surge there, there's boost there, people tip more in that area, or orders end up floating around to the point to where they reach that guaranteed status, or guaranteed bonus status rather, or it could be all of the above. So you want to check that out like ASAP, and once you get that under your belt, you'll be equipped to take on this new model that Ubereats is working with. Some people don't favor it, and overall the rates are lower if you're not taking into consideration all this stuff, the boosts, the tips, the certain areas of your city. But if you take this in consideration, you can make around the same rates you were making, which for me, it's between $11 and $18 an hour. And that's what the course is basically teaching you how to make. But the key thing is you still do get to see where you're going, the drop off, and the restaurant, and how much you make. So are these changes good? Are they better? Or are we worse off? Truth be told, I say Uber took a few steps forward, but then took a few steps back, which overall kind of leaves us where we stood. But the steps forward, if you don't know how to deal with the steps back, they took more steps back than they probably should have. So someone who doesn't know the techniques that I've taught in the course, okay, Uber took a step forward, but then they took 5 steps back because they don't know how to deal with this stuff. So the takeaway is you want to hop into that Ubereats advanced course, specifically the video titled Ubereats Zones. You can click on the link in the description, or you can click on the card that's coming up right now. Check that video out. It gives the methodology on how to deal with these changes so you can stay within that range of $11 or $18 an hour. And this will mean that certain places in your city might need to get abandoned for a little while because of the things I mentioned aren't taking place. People aren't tipping. No boosts are really around that area. Orders aren't reaching that guaranteed status. These new rates, you're not going to make that much money. You may actually fall under $11. So is it worth your time? For me, I would say no. So I wouldn't go to that area. And since you can see where the drop off is, I wouldn't be taking orders going there either. I would wait for the market to correct itself, surge to pop up, Uber to add boost zones, or people start getting more generous and they want to tip. Now, any one of those is fine. All of the above would be ideal, but at least one of those got to be in play. But that does it for this video. All we can do about these changes is adapt to it, and that's what the Ubereats Advanced course is structured to do. So overall, if you're advanced and you learn how to be advanced, it's just bringing us back to where we started, but you got to learn those skills. If you found value in this video, please do share, because the more people know about this, the more we can kind of get this ball rolling. And by ball rolling, since the market is self-correcting, us as drivers actually have a degree to control it. We can literally not go to certain areas of our city, and then Uber's gonna have to wrap a boost zone, or orders are gonna have to reach that bonus status. Then maybe we'll think about going over there. So, found value in this video, give it a like. Please do share. It's much appreciated. It's gonna help all of us out. And subscribe if you're new. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.